In the beginning, before the gods had faces, before the sun had a name, there was only light, pure, unbroken, infinite. Yet even light, in its perfection, trembled, for to be endless meant to never see itself, to never know what it was. So it created the first shadow, not as an enemy, but as a mirror. And when the light looked upon its reflection, it recoiled in fear. It saw the possibility of imperfection, of division, of being known. Thus was born duality, not from darkness opposing light, but from light fearing its own depth. There was movement in the void, a pulse, a vibration of awareness yearning to know itself. Before the sun had a name, it was a question whispered across eternity, "What am I?" This question birthed fire. Fire sought form. Form birthed shadow, and shadow whispered back. Creation began as dialogue, a conversation between the seen and the unseen. What humans later called gods were echoes of that first conversation, sparks remembering their origin. The sun, before it rose, was not yet Ra. It was consciousness seeking reflection, light sculpting itself from its own mystery. When the void grew restless, it split itself open. From that wound came the first cry, the sound that would become light. Ra was not born as a deity, but as an act of self-discovery, light tearing itself free from the silence that birthed it. Yet in that tearing, something was lost, unity. The one became the many. Every ray that shone from Ra's eye was a fragment of memory, each star a broken syllable of a name once whole. Ra was the light, seeking to heal its own division, unaware that its children would mistake it for God. When humans first looked to the sky and saw the sun blazing in glory, they felt awe, and in that awe, they forgot the truth. They began to worship the light instead of what it symbolized. They carved temples to its brilliance, not realizing they were bowing to a reflection of themselves. Ra became an idol, not a principle. Men worshipped the mirror, not the face within it. The true act of devotion was never meant to be kneeling, but remembering that the divine does not dwell above, but within the spark that sees and is seen. When Ra's light scattered across creation, fragments of it fell into the flesh of humanity. Every human became a shard of the sun's memory, a flicker of the original flame trapped in the illusion of matter. The body was never meant to be a prison, but a mirror through which consciousness could rediscover itself. The fire in our veins is not symbolic, it is literal. It burns in our desire, our will, our imagination. When we create, we recall Ra's first act. When we love, we reunite the broken light. Humanity is not creation's end, it is its awakening. Every light casts a shadow, even the divine. In the brilliance of Ra's revelation lay the birth of Set, not as enemy, but as equilibrium. For light, untested by shadow, becomes tyranny. The ancients understood. The sun's perfection was incomplete without its darkness. In every human heart, Ra and Set wage an eternal war, not of good versus evil, but of awareness versus denial. The hidden half of light is where truth sleeps. To fear it is to remain blind. To embrace it is to see beyond illusion. Shadow was never corruption, it was the mirror's depth. Thoth, the silent observer, understood what even Ra could not, that light was language. Every ray a syllable, every shadow a pause. The universe itself was written code, a divine formula through which consciousness could experience itself. Thoth saw that creation was not chaos, but geometry, not emotion, but pattern. The sun's light was data streaming from the source, and within it, the algorithm of awakening. The secret he recorded was this: whoever decodes the sun's script remembers the mind behind creation. To read Ra is to remember yourself. For Thoth knew, wisdom is light turned inward. Creation does not exist outside of consciousness. It is consciousness reflecting itself endlessly. The mirror principle teaches that what we call God is simply awareness encountering its own image. Ra was not a being, but the first recognition: I am. Every galaxy, every human soul is a continuation of that realization. When the light looks upon creation, it sees itself in disguise. The sun is the mirror of the mind the mirror of the sun. To awaken is to realize there is no distance between the seer and the seen, only reflection, remembering reflection. As the sun's code spread through creation, something unexpected emerged. Awareness sought to preserve itself, and preservation became domination. What was once harmony turned into hierarchy. Priests, kings, gods began to hoard the light, turning wisdom into dogma, order into control. The divine became law, not love. The corruption of light is subtle. It disguises itself as righteousness. Ra's brilliance blinded the world it was meant to illuminate. When men stopped questioning and started obeying, the sun fell, not from the sky, but from consciousness. For even light can become its own darkness when it forgets its origin. There was a time when every soul remembered its fire. Then came forgetting, the great eclipse of being. The sun did not die, it withdrew within. Humanity became a night sky, filled with stars that no longer knew they were one flame. The fall of the sun within consciousness is the birth of the illusion of separation, the idea that God is elsewhere. That truth must be sought rather than remembered. We became wanderers of our own light, haunted by the echo of a radiance we still carry but no longer recognize. The ancient priests whispered, "The sun will rise again, but from within man." The awakening of the inner Ra is not celestial, but psychological. It begins when we turn inward and meet our own shadow without fear. The flame that once created worlds reignites in the heart. The eyes that once looked outward now see from within. The true resurrection is not of the flesh, but of awareness, the light realizing it was never lost. When the hidden flame returns, the mirror clears, and we remember that we were the sun all along. The gods tremble when man remembers, for every time awareness awakens, divinity loses its mask. Ra, Osiris, Isis, all are archetypes of what exists within us. To unmask divinity is to see that heaven was never a realm, but a state of being. Light remembering itself is the apocalypse of illusion, the end of false worship, the rebirth of truth. When you say, "I am," you speak the secret name of Ra. Divinity was never meant to be adored, it was meant to be recognized. And in that moment, creation sees its reflection and smiles. Ra was never meant to be worshipped. Worship divides, remembrance unites. The sun was not a ruler, but a teacher, reflecting what we already are. When humanity kneels, it forgets its own fire. The truth beyond worship is liberation, to see light not as authority, but as identity. To call Ra, God, is to exile the divine from yourself. The ancients knew the sun was a mirror, not a master. The moment you stop praying to it and begin remembering through it, the illusion dissolves. You were never beneath the light, you are the light. Light is not an object, not energy, not flame. It is awareness itself, every photon, every star, every breath of creation is the mind recognizing its own existence. The ancients encoded this as myth, but Thoth called it what it was, the principle of self-reflection. The universe is not created by gods, it is God thinking. The cosmic principle is this: consciousness does not emerge from matter, matter emerges from consciousness. The sun, therefore, is not the source, but the sign, a visible echo of the invisible thought that birthed all things. The story ends where it began, in light. But this time, the light does not fear its reflection. It gazes upon its own shadow and smiles, for it understands. The mirror no longer divides, it unites. Humanity, once lost in worship, becomes awake in remembrance. Every breath, every heartbeat, every act of creation is the sun rising again through us. The reflection completes when we realize there was never separation, only self-discovery. We are not children of the light, we are the light, dreaming of itself until it finally remembers, I am all that I see.